Greetings and welcome to ISDS 3120, lecture number 2. All right, so welcome back to our virtual class for today on Wednesday. So it was nice seeing you all again on Monday. I'm glad to be back in class again with you. Hopefully you've gotten back into the swing of things. I just wanted to take a few minutes as we're beginning, just to give you some reminders of where we're at in the class as we're catching up. So obviously we're not going to be on Saturdays, as the university has suggested. Instead, we're going to play catch up ourselves. So today we're going to pick up and do lecture 2 here virtually. After I'm done with this, either later today or tomorrow, I'm going to record lecture 3. And that will be the third lecture for the class. So you can either watch that on either Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, your choice, in order to do that. After you've watched this lecture, then you can go online into Moodle and you can fill out the reflection from lecture 2. And after you watch the lecture 3, you can fill out the reflection from lecture 3. Now, those two things are going to be due by Monday at 8 a.m. Also due by Monday at 8 a.m., you see a link. I've combined together quizzes 1 and 2, and that is available for you inside of Google as well. Open book, open notes. It's on lectures 1, 2, and 3, as well as the first 6 chapters of the book. That's going to be open notes, open quiz. There's 10 questions. This is not meant to be a hard quiz. It's just meant to make sure that you're keeping up with the reading. You'll have 2 attempts, and that your higher score will count as your quiz grade for that. That will also close Monday at 8 a.m. The last thing that you need to do prior to Monday at 8 a.m. is in your case pack from Harvard, you'll find something called Case Study Coach. If you follow that link, it's about a 90-minute tutorial. It's going to teach you how to do case studies. Since we're going to spend so much time doing some case studies, you're going to watch a video and go through a series of exercises. At the end, there's a profile of a company, and you need to fill out a series of questions. There's a PDF attached with that. Fill out the answers to those questions based upon your reading of the case. Now, this is going to be a all points or no points. So if you fill it out and get it done, you will get all the points. This is ungraded. And the reason why it's ungraded is I just want to make sure that you have some background in understanding case studies before we start. So this is just meant to kind of get you used to case studies and reading case studies and give you some tools. So just to recap, lecture 2 today, reflection from this is due by Monday at 8 a.m. Number 2, lecture 3, watch that. The reflection from lecture 3 is due by Monday at 8 a.m. Number 3, quizzes 1 and 2, available in Moodle. And number 4 is going to be the case study coach, also due by Monday at 8 a.m. Next Monday, we will return back to the syllabus. And we'll be back to normal again. So on Monday, we'll be back in the classroom again. And on that Monday, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the questions that you have for the lecture. Now, I want these Monday sessions to be interactive. So I'm hopeful that you'll come with questions and we can actually talk about the material. And if you've seen anything else around technology that you just want to talk about in class and share with each other, that's really the purpose of that Monday, is really to be engaging. So we can talk about IT. We can talk about the class, the strategy, career advice, anything that you need. I want to make those Mondays to be very open and exciting sessions for you to come to. I want them to be valuable so that there's a reason why you come to class. All right, so with that backstory and all those announcements done, let's turn on to the material itself. So we spent the whole first lecture really talking about how technology is changing business so much. We talked about how it's changing the economy and how it's changing companies. We talked last time in class on Monday about how really there's a lot of changes with regards to technology. And so companies need to change their business in order to co-evolve their strategy between IT and the business. And that was that last series of discussions we had. We talked about the 5 strategic IT questions. Now, one of the points that I made toward the end of the time together on Monday was that IT has to be connected to the business model. And I said that we would talk about that today. So today, let's talk about what it is. What is a business model? There are 3 components to a business model. There's the concept, there's the capabilities, and there's the value. Now, what you're going to see is that these 3 ideas are interconnected to one another. So let's start at a high level and then we'll get into some more detail. First is the concept. The concept says, based on the opportunity that I see in the environment, what is my strategy for taking advantage of that opportunity? Now, hopefully by now you've had management classes. In management class, they talk about doing a SWOT analysis. And just so you remember, SWOT is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths and weaknesses are those that are inside of your company. That's what I'm good at, that's my strengths. Weaknesses is what I'm bad at. Opportunities is when I look at the environment, what opportunities do I see? Threats are what's going to act against me. Now, when we talk about a concept, this is going to be very external focused. So when I look out into the environment and I look out at other businesses, what weaknesses do I see in them that I can take advantage of? In other words, where's my opportunity? Now, just because you've identified an opportunity doesn't mean that you can exploit that opportunity. So the strategy is going to be your way as a company of leveraging that opportunity. So I see an opportunity, how can I leverage that? All right, capabilities. Capability says, all right, given the fact that I have a strategy, in other words, I have a way of exploiting my opportunity, what do I need to exploit that opportunity? That could be, what technology do I need? What people do I need? What capital do I need? What do I need in order to execute the strategy that I've identified? Value. All right, given the opportunity, given the resources, what benefits, what value does this bring to people who invest in my business? All right, if you have a good opportunity and a good strategy, you're going to bring good value. If you have a good strategy, then you'll be able to find the capabilities. If you have a good value proposition, then you'll be able to find the resources. So already you can start to see that these are interconnected with one another. Let's get down to more detail. Business concept. A business concept says, what's the opportunity that I see and how am I going to seize on that opportunity? So what you do is you look at the marketplace and you say, all right, based on the marketplace, what is already out there? What are the products? What are the services that are already out there? Think about, for example, let's go historical for a moment. Let's think back toward Facebook. When Facebook first started, the competitive landscape that they saw ahead of them was MySpace and Friendster. They saw a very weak amount of competition. So they said, based on what we see in the environment, we see an opportunity to offer new products because the competitive dynamics in that space were weak and we think we could take advantage of them. Now, what if you were to come and say, well, I want to propose an alternative to Facebook today? And we know already for sure that there are alternative social networking platforms that exist. But the opportunity that exists today is dramatically different than it was at that time because the competitive dynamics have shifted. And Facebook is more entrenched of a competitor than Facebook had to compete against at that time. So I look at my marketplace, I see what other people are doing, I look at the competitive dynamics and I say, all right, what am I going to do to achieve that competitive dynamic, that competitive opportunity? What are the ways I'm going to involve my business in order to take advantage of this opportunity? So some questions you may ask when we talk about a business concept, when we talk about running a business case, for example, the questions that we're going to ask you are, all right, how are you going to attract a customer base? How are you going to find your customers? How are you going to deliver them value? How's your pricing going to look like? Is your goal to become the market leader, number one, or maybe market number two, take a second place position? Sometimes being a second place position in the market is a strategy. How are you going to make it so that no one else comes after you to beat you? That's called a barrier to entry. How are you going to erect a barrier to entry so that no one else can come after you? How are you going to evolve your business in the future so that you can take advantage of future opportunities? How are you going to make sure that you're not relying upon only one revenue stream? That was some of the problems with MySpace. If you look at the business model, for example, of Facebook today, you see that the revenue stream is ad and videos, and it's much more than just simply based on one component. And given all that, how are we going to manage the risks associated with the company, and how are we going to manage as the company evolves? All this comes under the heading of your business concept. All right, so the concept. I see my strategy, I see the opportunity in the marketplace. Here's my strategy. Here's the strategy for how I'm going to get into that market. Here's how I'm going to find my customers. Here's how I'm going to find value for my customers. Given that, Second area, capabilities. What are the resources that you need to execute that and actually make it happen? Who are the people? Are you going to do this alone, or are you going to partner with other companies? What kind of organization what kind of organizational culture are you going to build? What do you need to achieve that? Are you going to have a fun culture, a serious culture? Are you going to have a culture where it's not all coming into the office, but more virtual? All of these are resources that you need. If you're building a process, if you're actually building something, what's your manufacturing going to look like? Are you going to hire a sales team? How are you going to handle your accounting? How are you going to handle your operations? What's your management structure going to look like? How are you going to develop your business? How are you going to have infrastructure, the technology that you need in order to make sure that you're working? All of these are capabilities that your business needs to have. But you can see already that based on the opportunity, it's going to define the kind of capabilities that you need in order to execute them. So, some questions when we start to ask about the capabilities of your company. One of the questions that we have is, how are we going to achieve best of breed or best in class operating procedure? How are we going to build our infrastructure to make sure that it's going to work? How are we going to make sure that our employees are working well and have good partnerships? How are we going to make sure that our employees have value in the long term of our organization? If we know that our company has to have good knowledge, how do we make sure that we nurture and maintain that knowledge? How are we going to make good decisions? How are we going to organize the company to make sure that we make good decisions and we're agile and flexible? All right, so we have a high-level understanding of, we know now what our opportunity is, we know what our strategy is, we have the people, processes, technology, capital, everything we need through our capabilities. Now, what's the value proposition? In other words, how are we going to deliver value to our stakeholders? Now, the stakeholders are not only internal, but external as well. How do we make sure the ownership of the company has value? What are we going to do? What's our view of market share? Do we have a percentage? We want to achieve 10% market share, 20%, 50%. What kind of market share do we want? How do we want people to view our firm? Do we want to be viewed as ruthless and cold, or caring about social responsibility, which is the trend of reputation today? What kind of dividend, if we go public, what kind of dividend do we want to bring back to our stakeholders? Do we have growth targets? What is the return going to be to our stakeholders? So how are we going to do this? How are we going to deliver value? How are, based upon our transactions, how are we going to claim value? How are we going to increase market share? Given our customers, how are we going to get extra revenue from them? How are we going to allow people to look at our brand as being valuable and of high reputation? How do we make sure that the other people are confident in us? How is it that we make sure that we're growing? How do we make sure we have good cash flow? All of these are questions of value. So what I want you to see is this. There are three elements of a business model. There's the concept, the capabilities, and the value. The concept is the opportunity and the strategy. The capabilities are the resources, and the value is what we're going to bring to the stakeholders. So I said all of these are informing of one another, right? So the opportunity tells us the capabilities. Now the problem is, what if I can't get the capabilities? You can have the best opportunity in the world. You can have the best strategy in the world. But if the capabilities aren't able to be found, if you can't get the capital, the people, the infrastructure, it doesn't matter. Because at that point, no matter how good the concept is, if the capabilities can't follow, you can't execute the concept. So there's a positive relationship. In other words, it allows it, but there's also a negative relationship. It prevents it. All right. Well, let's talk about value on the left-hand side. The concept tells you how valuable it is. If your concept is good, it's going to deliver a lot of value. If your concept is bad, it's not going to deliver a lot of value. Well, if you have good value, then you're going to be able to get the resources that you need. In other words, you're going to be able to get the benefits you need. If the value proposition isn't there, then you're not. Then you're not going to be able to get the capabilities that you need. Now, before we go on, we now kind of understand that to build a competitive business, we have to have a good business model. Now, you're going to say, well, hold on. You're talking all about strategy, and you said that it has to do with the business model. Where's IT? Where does IT fit? Well, IT fits in all three elements of the business model. How? All right. So let's say, for example, let's take an example that we kind of began with discussing early on during our first lecture. We talked about Amazon and Whole Foods, and during our last lecture, we talked about Amazon Go. And this is just a good example because it's a relevant one. Amazon found an opportunity in the book market where no one else found an opportunity existed. The opportunity was to go online. When the web wasn't viewed as being a commercial platform, Amazon saw the opportunity. That was their concept. They then acquired the technology resources, the capabilities, and by so doing, delivered value. So the role of IT is to enable you to define an opportunity and to therefore give you the capabilities that you need to execute that and deliver value. Think about Uber, for example. Uber found an opportunity in the taxi industry where no one else had seen that opportunity before. They said, we can achieve an opportunity. They built their app, they built that. They built the capabilities. Lyft saw an opportunity that Uber wasn't achieving, and they came in second. So you see there a race between 1 and 2. And what's happening now between Uber and Lyft is each are trying to achieve new capabilities, to define new opportunities. You see Uber moving toward Uber Eats and other opportunities that they see in the marketplace. In each of these cases, they're developing technology-based capabilities because they're changing competition due to technology-enabled opportunities. So in other words, we talked about that co-evolution during that last lecture, right? And we said they have to co-evolve. Co-evolving because technology is enabling new opportunities by providing new capabilities. And it's all working together. All right, now we get that, right? We get that here at this point in time, we're working together. Now, the problem is I said during the last half of the first lecture, they have to co-evolve. The reason why they have to co-evolve is if your company stays the same it is forever, it's known as a static company. And companies that are static will no longer exist anymore. It's only when companies are dynamic and changing that they're able to be successful. So you're always looking for ways to evolve your business model. So how do we evolve a business model? There are 4 ways to evolve your business model. And we're going to start at the top and work our way around. Way number 1 to extend your business model is to extend, is to maybe add a new line of business. If you look at, for example, a company like Amazon, where they're extending, they're entering a whole new lines of business. Expansion, number 2. You can add a new product, a new service, or enter a new market. So if you look at a company like Uber, going into new markets like China and India, that's expansion. Number 3, on the left-hand side, enhancing. This is Uber and Lyft, where I'm adding new functionality to what we already have in place. I'm improving what I'm currently offering. And number 4, exiting. One way to evolve your business model is to realize that the capabilities aren't worth the value and the opportunity that I see. So in other words, I'm going to exit this business. I'm going to stop offering this product or service. So there's 4 ways that I can evolve my business model. I can extend it by adding a new line of business or a new business model. I can expand it by having a new kind of product. I can enhance it by adding functionality, or I can exit the business altogether. Now, one source of opportunities is to work in my supply chain. Now, during the last lecture, we introduced the concept of network-based or platform strategy. And we talked about how the economy today is platforms and how really we're trying to work with our competitors. And we said we introduced that picture of the supply chain, and we said you're either going to move, you're trying to network with your partners and suppliers just as your competitors, right? Well, let's talk a little bit more about what that means. Now, there's the economy of the platform or the economy of the network, there's new opportunities. And those new opportunities are you can either build the platforms, which is to provide the network, or you can build your business on top of the platform. So just as an easy contrast to understand this at a high level, if you think about a company like Amazon, let's say that I'm a small business and I want to start to offer my products on Amazon. I am a small business, I'm going to put a business on top of Amazon. So that's the first example. Businesses built on the platform. I'm going to offer my business on Amazon. All right, that's the first kind of business model that exists in the platform economy. The second bullet point where it says businesses providing, that's Amazon. Amazon is providing me the platform. Okay, another example. Let's say that I decide that I want to start renting and selling homes. I'm going to start renting homes out through Airbnb. My business, where I start to offer rentals, is built on top of the infrastructure. Airbnb is the company providing the infrastructure. Uber and Lyft. Uber is providing the infrastructure. The drivers are building their business on top of the infrastructure. So what we're seeing here is an interesting opportunity, and this is why platforms are so important to understand. 5 years ago, this didn't exist. 10 years ago, these didn't exist. If you're a company that there's a small business trying to sell their businesses, I couldn't go to Amazon and work with Amazon. If I wanted to start driving, I had to go to the taxi cab company. In each of those cases, if I wanted to rent my house out, I had to do it myself. I may use Craigslist or something else, but I didn't have a platform. So what's happening is we're seeing new kind of opportunities that are emerging because of the platformed economy. Again, just to revisit why this is important. Because if we talk about the business model and we talk about the value of IT, what you can see is that IT is providing new opportunities on top of the platform. It's providing new opportunities to be the platform. And so by doing that, it's providing all sorts of new capabilities for the platform providers as well as those on top of the platform. All right, so what are the different roles that exist in a marketplace? Well, we can see, first of all, that there are suppliers. Suppliers are the companies that build the components or the services. They're the raw materials. The producers, they're the ones that design and build those products. The distributors are the ones that enable the buyer and the suppliers to work together. Now, I'm going to take an example here so that we can understand it better. Let's take our iPhone as an example. The companies that makes the Gorilla Glass and the cases and the processors, those are the suppliers. They have their raw materials. Apple designs the products. They get the raw materials from all the Gorilla Glass and their processors. So they get all those raw materials. They're the producers. If they then take that iPhone and give it to Best Buy to sell, Best Buy becomes the distributor. So there's suppliers, producers, and distributors. All right, now let's talk about those three roles, and let's break this conversation up into two. So the two categorization is, let's talk about those that are built on the platform and those that provide the platform. Okay, so we said the producers. Producers are those that design and build products and services that meet a specific market need. Now, those that are built on the infrastructure are companies like manufacturers, service providers, consultants, news services. So these are companies that are built on a platform. You're going to put together your products. Now, it could be that you're not putting together your products, but you could be manufacturing other people's products as well. So you could be, for example, a co-packer, where you put together other people's products for them. So if you decide, make something tangible. You decide as your company that you see an opportunity in some market where you're going to produce something tangible. And you're in your apartment and you decide that you're going to make a widget. Well, you're not going to be the one to sit there in your house and make that. You want to outsource production to some other company. So you decide to outsource that to a company in China. So you go onto a platform and you put it out for bid. I want someone to help build my product. A manufacturing company on that same platform is going to find you and connect. They're going to make it for you. You both built your business model on that platform. The manufacturer found you on the platform. So one of the ways that IT provides new capabilities for producers who are on top of the platform is it enables you to connect in new kinds of ways. How about distributors? Again, distributors are the ones that go ahead and sell our products. Well, this is easy. This is an Amazon example, right? They enable buyers and sellers together. These are retailers or marketplaces. These are aggregators, exchanges, eBay, All of these are places where allow buyers and sellers to take place. So you outsourced your manufacturing to China, and it comes back to you all made, and you're storing it, and now you need to sell it on Amazon. So you're taking advantage of that platform. You're taking advantage of the opportunities on that platform to distribute your product. All right, now we have distributors. Distributors built on the infrastructure. So what we're seeing here is a new kind of opportunity, and that new opportunity is portals. Portals are a new distribution approach that enables buyers and sellers to get together. Now, there are three kinds of portals that exist. There's horizontal portals, there's vertical portals, and there's affinity portals. So a horizontal portal is a portal that provides information on top of a platform to a lot of people. It doesn't matter who they are. It's just a portal to information. So it's just a lot of information, but it's not very deep. A vertical portal is one that takes a specific market segment and it drills down into it. So let's say, for example, as you guys graduate, you're going to become IT people, right? As IT people, you're going to want to get a lot of knowledge of IT. So a vertical portal is going to be for people who are specifically in IT and provide information specifically to you. An affinity portal provides deep content to a very specific group of people. So let's say within IT, you're interested in blockchain. That would enable you to find an affinity portal specific to you. Now, this is a new kind of distribution, and these are built on an infrastructure. If you think about the areas like Reddit, right? Reddit has a lot of different information. It enables different people to connect together. That's a distributor that's built on the Reddit platform. All right, now let's go beneath. Let's look at those companies that provide the actual infrastructure itself. And the first are producers. Producers are those that build, market, and sell technology solutions. Think about a company like IBM. IBM is building servers for the platforms. They're providing the infrastructure. They're making the computers. A company like Google, making the cloud software. They're making software. Companies that allow them to integrate together. These are producers providing the infrastructure. They're providing the platform. Now, you would be surprised, for example, to find out that if we take Netflix as an example, Netflix doesn't run its own data centers. All of their data centers are run on the Amazon cloud servers. So, interestingly enough, they outsource that. They don't even do that themselves. So, they rely on another company in order to host their infrastructure. They're relying on someone else to provide the platform from them. Distributors, they're the ones that provide the infrastructure. So if you use Amazon or you use Airbnb, that's a distributor that's providing the platform. They do an infrastructure retail that allows us to set inventory, or infrastructure marketplaces to sell hardware and software, or provide information or computer solutions. All of these are distributors. They provide that platform for us. So what we're seeing is just like distributors have a new kind of portals, so do distributors that are providing this as well. They are infrastructure portals. They provide us with access to all these services. So these are companies like Amazon Cloud, Google Cloud, IBM Cloud. These kind of models didn't exist before because they're providing us our new infrastructure. So what we know is for us to really be competitive in the business today, we have to network, which means we have to look at these platforms, figure out how to work with our platforms. We have to choose whether we're going to take our business and enhance it, extend it, exit it, or expand it. And I said early on that the key really is to be successful, you can't be static. You have to be agile, you have to be flexible. You have to always be adapting because the environment is going to change, you need to co-evolve. So, what does it mean to co-evolve to the environment? So, there are 7 components of an organization. Those 7 components are the values of the company. In other words, what do we stand for? The strategy of the company, which is how we're going to take advantage of the opportunity. The structure of the company, which is how we're going to create our structure, or how we're going to connect our organizational units to one another. Our processes, that's our systems. The staff, that's the people. The style, how are we going to kind of company and culture we're going to be. And the skills, the capabilities we have. These are the 7 interconnected characteristics of an organization. Our business model defines our capabilities. Our capability is manifested in these 7 different characteristics. What happens is these characteristics change over time, and all businesses change over time. If we look back through the history of a specific business, we see that businesses go through 5 crises in order to grow. Now, in order to illustrate this, I want to basically for us to pretend like you're a startup right now, and we can understand better how businesses grow. So you're sitting there today listening to this lecture, and I'm sure in the back of your head you have an idea for a business startup. And you say, I want to create a new startup that does this or that. And I'm sure that you have some sort of a way that you see an opportunity. So you're going to go out today and you're going to say, all right, I'm going to take advantage of the opportunity and I'm going to find my resources and I'm going to find that market opportunity. You're going to creatively find a new way to start. All right, so you're going to work and you're going to not get paid a lot and you're going to grow and it's very entrepreneurial, very creative. But you're going to hit a point in which, and all companies do, which you're going to realize that you're going to grow and you're going to build and you're going to hire people. And you're going to realize, though, that as you're working so hard, that things kind of got out of hand. Because you grew so fast and you really weren't exactly sure what you were doing. And so you decided that you need help. So the first crisis you're going to get is leadership. I need help. I need someone to come in and kind of take advantage of all this chaos and lead us. So then someone new is going to come in. And that new person is going to come in and they're going to start to formalize structures. They're going to create a structure. They're going to put in accounting. They're going to put in budgets. They're going to create standardized processes. And you're going to grow and you grow and you're going to grow. And that's called growth through direction. Someone's going to direct your company. So now before you did all the accounting, now you have a CFO. Before you had an ad hoc way of making decisions, you don't anymore. So what happens is in order to really grow more, the next phase is centralization. You're going to become more and more centralized. Well, the problem is in that kind of environment is over time, people start to realize that there's limits. That although it's more controlled, that there's limits to being so controlled as well. They want more autonomy. So that next phase of a business growth is going to end in autonomy, where people and employees want autonomy to make the decision. So what are you going to do? You're going to go in through your next mode. You're going to say, all right, fine, we went too far. We're too central. We need to become decentralized. We're going to basically distribute, and we're going to let people make decisions on their own. It's not going to be crazy like it was at first. We're going to delegate. We're going to make so-and-so in charge of this and so-and-so in charge of that. We're going to review things on decisions. We're going to have management involved. We're going to communicate. Well, what happens with companies with this, as they become more decentralized over time, they realize that they went too far. And they're going to find out that one part of the company is making the same decision as the other part of the company is. So they're going to have a problem with control. And that's going to be the end of the third phase. So then you're going to move into a point where you're going to then begin to start to coordinate and monitor how people make decisions. We're going to create groups and plan, and we're going to centralize some things and decentralize other things, but we're going to make everyone accountable. The problem is at the end of this, we're going to be back to red tape. It's once we move past that, then you're going to find collaboration. Then you're going to see teams working together. Then you're going to have cross-functional teams. Then you're going to have more of a matrix organization. Then you're going to have teams. Then you're going to grow internally. All companies go through these 5 stages. The key along the way is that you cannot stay the same. Why can't you stay the same? All companies, if we look at the history of a company, on the x-axis we see time and on the y-axis we see growth. All companies grow for a certain period of time. They'll grow and they'll grow and they'll grow. And so if you look at the graph in front of you, you see that it says the intersection of the X and Y, or time and growth, is old. You see that curve. They grow and they grow and they grow, and then they hit a point at which they stop growing. They stop getting new customers, and they need to make a decision. They can either keep doing what they're doing, which you know is not good, or they can evolve. Companies that don't make decisions to change, where they keep doing what they're doing before, they follow the bottom half of that curve where it says without adaptation. You see what that means for growth? It doesn't exist. They die. But companies that decide at that point in which they stop growing to adapt and change see new types of growth. You cannot afford to stop growing. To be successful, a company cannot give way to inertia, which is doing the way you've always done things. You have to adjust to the environment, and you have to adjust, and you have to change. But this is not without risk. This is not without some sort of a risk that you're going to take to your business. Well, here's the problem. So you have your existing business, and let's say you hit that strategic inflection point. And where this is on the graph is at the intersection of option A and option B on the left side of the slide in front of you. So you see there, at that point, you have choices. That's the strategic inflection point. Now, you're deciding what to do. Now, let's make this easy. We took a look at our 4 choices: the extend, the exit, all those 4 choices that we did earlier. And let's just narrow it down. You decide as an executive, hey, I'm at my point of strategic inflection point. I know I need to do something. I'm either going to exit or extend, just for the sake of our example. Option A is exit, option B is extend. Now, between the point in which you begin your strategic inflection point and the time in which you make your decision, that is known as the valley of death. The point in which you hit your strategic inflection point and you make your decision, that's the valley of death. Why is it the valley of death? Because what's happening during that time is your company is basically plateaued and you're not doing anything. You're either going to come out of it and you're going to make the right decision and you're going to see opportunities, or you're going to make the wrong decision and your company will go under. You must traverse the valley of death, because the ultimate goal as we traverse the valley is digital transformation. Digital transformation means embracing new and different technologies in ways that challenge operational and value assumptions and which integrate them with existing technologies to deliver new products, new service, new business models, new revenue streams, new experiences. That is digital transformation. That is when you're taking your business model and you're evolving your capabilities, you're evolving the opportunities that you see in front of you. Is this easy? Definitely not. If this was easy, every company would be able to achieve it. So why is this so hard? There are 5 big reasons why this is so hard to achieve. One is it's unknown. A lot of times we're just guessing at the future. There is no certainty in any of this. 2, it's complex. It could be that the digital transformation requires new methods and new models. 3rd, and probably one of the most important, holistic. This requires you not just to change technology, but to change the business. The whole company to work together. 4th, it's challenging because it requires you to be innovative and experiment, and not all experiments go well. And lastly, the scope of this is huge. When we talk about the technology today, like big data, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, blockchain, all of these are big issues. These are big transformations for companies today. And the reason why I said that notion of holistic is so important is because IT cannot do it alone. IT cannot dictate how to do this alone. IT has to work with the business, and that requires you as IT to understand the value. It means that the business has to trust IT and vice versa. It means that as business people come to you, IT people, and ask, you have to interpersonally connect with them, be credible and you know what you're talking about. So, what do we know today? We know that there's a relationship between the environment and the firm. If you understand it and you adapt, you succeed. If you cross the valley of death at the strategic inflection point, you'll succeed. Failure to understand, failure to adapt is going to lead to failure. Adaptation, that means adjusting the business model. That means adjusting your organization to what the environment requires. So what that means is that you have to not only understand technology, but you have to understand the business model and you have to understand the organization. So we know that, of course, one choice for this is to change the market. So let's go back to our network-based strategy. Let's go back to our producers and distributors. One way to do this is to look at our network of relationships and to alter how we interact with other firms. What we're trying to do is create flexibility. Now, the flexibility, what we're creating, can either be strategic or it can be operational. Now, there's two ways I can handle flexibility. I can be flexible because someone else makes me do it. That's defensive flexibility. I can be offensively flexible, which is when I see a new opportunity. The key that we're trying to achieve in order for us to be successful is to find offensive flexibility, where we're finding these opportunities and doing this on our own. There's 4 types of flexibility. So on the left-hand side, we see that there's offensive flexibility and there's defensive flexibility. On the top, we see there's anti-flexibility and post-flexibility. These define 4 different types of flexibility. So we can have agility, liquidity, robustness, or resilience. 4 different types of flexibility. Now, how do we go about making these changes and what does that mean? That's what we're going to talk about during our 3rd lecture. But what you can see here is that technology is going to play a pretty critical role. Now, what we're going to do in lecture 3 is we're going to actually talk about technologies. And I want to tie specific technologies to specific opportunities that exist. All right, now, after you're done listening to this, go into Moodle. You'll see reflections for lecture 2. Fill that out. If there's something that's unclear as I went through this, please let me know. I hope you have a great Wednesday, and I look forward to hearing from you.